Aniko crew, we're back again for another Sunday night. I'm so excited to see what God is going to do and how He's going to move tonight as we continue with our service. But for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Cooper. I'm the leader here at Aniko. I'm away on holidays right now, but I've been praying for you guys as I've been away and thinking about you guys lots. And tonight we have another awesome night planned. And you know, I don't even have to give much of an introduction tonight. We have my friend, my brother, somebody I look up to, somebody that I respect in so many ways. We have Pastor Dustin Bennett back in the house tonight to share the Word of God with you guys. So we don't really need to, introduce him. We don't need to do any of that. What we really need to do is let's just welcome him back home to the Aniko service. He was there from the beginning, and he is such a huge part of what we do every single Sunday night. So let's give Pastor Dustin the biggest welcome we can as he comes back home to preach the Word of God from this stage. So let's welcome him as he comes.
Let's go, man. Yo, I would be lying if I were to tell you I wasn't excited. I'm so excited to be here in Calgary. Those of you who don't know me again, my name's Dustin. I'm a lead pastor up in Edmonton, and man, this place, when I come here, I always feel like I'm around my family. I love being a part of this. And just right now, I want to honor your leaders here at Aniko. Right now, I want you to give it up for Cooper and Chastity and Pastor Dave and Pastor Clarice, man. You guys are blessed with incredible leadership here at Royal Oak Victory Church. And one thing before I start tonight is I just want to mention, there's a quick video that y'all watch. It's about Freedom Session. And here at Royal Oak Victory Church, Freedom Session is an incredible way to find healing in your life. It's an incredible way to find restoration from your past, and I want to encourage you to sign up. And we have Kayla here, I think, somewhere, maybe in the foyer, and she's going to be out there. She can give you any information you have. Amazing. Go check it out. It could change your life. But, man, I'm so excited to be here tonight. It's going to be amazing. It was the other day, I had to take out the garbage. And when I say I had to, Beth asked me to, okay? So that's what that means. My wife said, hey, take out the garbage. I was like, to be honest, I don't want to take out the garbage, right? Y'all know what I'm saying? You know when, chores come, you're like, I don't want to do that? Literally, that's when you get, it gets worse, to be honest. Until you have, lots of kids and they do it for you, you know what I'm saying? It's like child labor, but it's good child labor. But I had to take out the garbage, and we have, we're in a Lane's house, so we have a detached parking pad. And so I grab the garbage and I go outside, and I'm not kidding you, there was literally a swarm of bees above my head. Okay? So you know that sound? You know the sound I'm talking about? Swarm of bees, bzzz, but it's thousands of them. And so I go out, and I'm telling you, I started running. I was like, I'm out of this place. I am not about to get attacked by bees on my own property. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let this happen to me right now in this moment. So I go, and I'm running. My eyes are probably closed. I don't fully remember because it was panic. I'm running, and then the bees are following me like a swarm. So I'm running, and then I had this courageous moment where I was like, okay, I'm going to look, and I'm about to fight, right? So I look up. You're not going to believe it. You're literally not going to believe this. Above my head is a drone. A drone. Y'all know what a drone is? Right, so I go outside, and I'm like, I'm dead. This is literally the end of my life. I, waved goodbye to Beth and my daughter, and I was like, this is it. And there's a drone above me. It's not even a swarm of bees. I'm like, and I look up. You know that moment where, you have so much fear, your body is almost like you have aches and pains. You don't know what I'm talking about when you're so anxious. That's literally how I felt in this moment. Look up, and I don't know if looking up made it worse or better, just to be honest. It almost made it worse because I'm I am so embarrassed, and I really hope there's not a camera on this drone, right? Because I want to be on the internet pretty quick. This dude is terrified of drones, right? This is the moment that I found myself in, and I was so scared. I was terrified of this, and it was this drone. It wasn't even what I thought it was. And I think we all have moments in our life where something we thought, something we perceived, something we were good at, something that we thought was, ended up not being what it was. Y'all know what I'm talking about? And there's a story in the scriptures that really declares this. And today I've called my message Complacency to Creativity. Because I believe that right now in this season, so many of us have become so complacent with where we are that we've stopped being creative. We've actually stopped doing the things that we want to do because we're just waiting to see what's next rather than creating what's next. right? We've become so complacent. So here, John 21, verse 3. I love this story. And read this. Just put yourself in this place, okay? So Simon Peter, he's one of Jesus' friends, one of his disciples, says, I'm going fishing. That's literally what he says. I am going fishing, right? And then his boys are like, they said to him, we'll go with you. Like, this is a real conversation. Right? Like Peter's like, yo, I'm going fishing. They're like, okay, we'll come. So they all go fishing, right? And they go fishing, and they got onto the boat, and guess what? Typical fishing story, they caught nothing. Right? Y'all ever go fishing? I'm going fishing tomorrow for the first time, probably 10 years. Do you know what my expectation is? I'm not going to catch something. Just be honest. Like, I'm not expecting to catch anything. But how simple is this story written right from the beginning? I'm going fishing. We will go with you. They caught nothing. Like, what an exciting story, right? Like, if your friend came to you and said, hey, let me tell you what happened last night. I went fishing. People came with me, and I caught nothing. You'd be like, dude, cool story, bro. Like, but this is like in the Bible, right? Like I'm going fishing. We're going with you, and they caught nothing. They're pumped, right? They're like, yeah, we're going fishing. This is going to be great. We're going to catch fish. Nothing could stop them except for actually catching fish, right? That's what stopped them. Like, the boys, they fished all night. Like, it literally says, but that night they caught nothing. They went out all night long. You ever tried something all night long, like studying for an exam? Studying for your final in university? A lot of the time, not a lot gets accomplished in those moments. Right? This is where the disciples found themselves. But have you ever had a moment where you've tried something and saw zero results? Like, how many of y'all started a diet? Like that lasted longer than 2 days. Like 2 of us, you know what I'm saying? Like we, because the funny thing is, what happens is, especially with diets, we like look in the mirror, we're like, this has gone too far, you know what I'm saying? You're like, I am eating healthy. Next day, you bring like this was me like literally 3 weeks ago. I brought a cucumber for lunch. That's it. To work. And a dip. Like, I was like, oh, healthy. And then like by noon, I'm like, whoa, I'm hungry. And then another thing you notice is, if y'all watch TV, as soon as you diet, all of a sudden you see every commercial, right? It's like they release, I'm on a diet right now, they literally release spicy chicken nuggets at McDonald's while I'm on my diet. Okay, and if you don't know me, like, McDonald's is like my second favorite place on the planet, okay? Disneyland, McDonald's. Those are my 2 top favorite things. But when we diet, we have intentions of actually seeing results, right? And we do this all the time. We set goals, and they never actually get accomplished, right? Like, I think when COVID started, at least for me, I was like, I'm going to be home. I'm going to do so much stuff. The house is going to be clean. I'm going to get so jacked. Like, it's going to be amazing. And then, like, 3 months later, I was like, none of that happened, you know? And I think that's what this season has done to a lot of us. Is we've gotten to a place where we don't set goals anymore. We don't actually have anything that we're looking forward to. Right? Because what's happened is we've been in this culture where every single event is getting canceled or postponed. Right? And the tough thing is that sometimes we watch TV, we watch sports, and we see packed stadiums in different parts of the world. And we come here and we're restricted. And so what happens is, psychologically, is we start thinking that this is like the way it's supposed to be. And so what happens is we stop actually trying to make our lives better. We stop actually trying to create better versions of ourselves. This is where we get caught. And I believe that this story really, really depicts this, because I think right now we live in a society that gives up way too quickly. Like, we give up so fast, right? Like, ask somebody in university how many degrees they've tried to get. People change in school like 35 times. Like, we give up so fast. As soon as there's any moment of like somebody like saying no, like you're not good enough, we're like, oh yeah, you're right, and then we try something else. Like, we do this, like we give up so fast, so easily on every single thing. We give up on relationships really fast. We give up on our friends really fast. Sometimes we give up on our kids. We give up on our children. We give up on our parents. Sometimes we give up on people, and we give up on things way, way, way too fast. We give up. And I think that's because right now in the society that we live in, this culture, this space, that's what everybody is doing. We just give up. We try something. Like I knew people like, I'm going to learn how to play guitar during COVID. This 2 weeks, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. Well, it's been like almost 2 years and you still don't know how to play. Like we can't give up so fast. Like the disciples, they fished all night long. Like I would have given up after like 20 minutes. Like, hey, Peter, the fish aren't biting today, bro. Like, you want to just like go back to shore? Like we can sit around a fire. Wish we had fish, right? Like that would have been me. Like I'm telling you. We give up so fast. And this year, things have gotten worse for us, I think. We don't have any drive anymore. You know, one thing I believe is I don't believe COVID has taken away normal. What I think COVID has taken away from a lot of us is our dream. Right? Like we think about it, we're like, hey, we just want to go back to normal. I'm telling you, I don't want to go back to normal, just to be honest. I want to go forward. And I think the way that we go forward as humans, the way we go forward as individuals, how we do this is by actually creating drive within our soul for something more, for something bigger, for something different. For some of us, we haven't accomplished anything cool in the past 2 years. When we look back at our greatest memory, some of us, it's years ago. When we look at our greatest accomplishment, that was high school. Like for some of us, like this is real. Like we haven't done anything that we strived to do. And I think sometimes the older we get, the more we realize there's so much that we missed out on. I think sometimes what happens is that some of us were so afraid to die that we never actually really live. You don't know what I'm saying? Like we're so afraid to fail. We're so afraid to disappoint somebody. We're so afraid to do something wrong that we don't even try. And then we're not actually living the life that Jesus gave his life for you to live. We're sitting in this place. We're so scared. We don't have any drive. So we just sit back and let other people do what God called you to do. And I think for me, like I realized this about myself. I'm like, I'm just going through the motions rather than creating the wave. Like we need to be people who step back into a place of creativity and stop being so complacent and start being creative. We can see this in the next part of the story. Verse 4 here says this: just as day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore. Yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, children, which, bro, he calls his disciples fishing all night. He says, children. Like that is like disrespectful, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the other thing, they don't even know it's Jesus, right? So this random dude walks to the shore and says, children. They're like, shut up, dude. Like, we've been fishing all night and I'm tired. We didn't catch a thing. I'm frustrated. Children, do you have any fish? Y'all ever have somebody ask you a question that makes you so mad? I picture Peter on the boat. Children, do you have any fish? Who does this guy think he is, right? Like, I'm a professional fisherman, bro. Who's that guy? He's got nothing. Children, do you have any fish? They answered him, no. Like, that's how frustrated these boys were, right? They're like, no, we don't have any fish. And then he says this. He said to them, cast the net on the other side of the boat, on the right side of the boat, and you will have some. Now, okay, again, they don't know who this is. Cast your net to the other side. They're like, okay, this guy needs to be quiet, right? So they cast it. At that point, though, they're like, to be honest, we have been fishing all night long. It said they didn't catch anything all night. It says when day was breaking, in the morning, they didn't catch any fish. So then Jesus comes and says, cast the net to the other side. So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because of the quantity of fish. They couldn't even take in the amount of fish that was on the other side of the boat. So they go from a place. Now, again, I don't know if they were excited or mad. Because they tried over and over and over that night, minute after minute, hour after hour, day, like they were going. Some guy shows up, throw your net to the other side, they can't even take in all the fish. How many times do we get so complacent in our journey that we stop being creative? That we stop trying new things? They needed to do something new in order to get the blessing. It might not seem like a crazy idea. It's not like he invented a new net, right? It's not like he created the first fishing rod. He literally said, throw your net on the other side. And they had so much fish, they could hardly take it in. And I have this belief that every single human being is creative. I have this belief. I believe that every single human on this planet was born creative. And you might look at your life and be like, you should see me with a paintbrush. Y'all don't want me playing guitar on Sunday night. But then we think, that's the only way I can be creative? What if you created a beautiful house? What if you created a space where your children felt loved and valued by you? What if you did something that nobody else is doing and it brought you what you were desperately looking for? What if you had a crazy idea at work that the boss was just frustrated, right? We've tried that before. Doesn't gonna work. And you're like, try it, and then it explodes. You were born creative. You were born with something inside of you that the world is desperately looking for. You know, some of the most creative geniuses that have ever lived, some of them only created 8 pieces of art in their life. And they're called some of the most creative people to ever roam this planet. 8 pieces. I believe you have at least one in you. Maybe that's a human, like a baby. You know what I'm saying? It's a weird motion. But we have to tap into the genius of Jesus. Jesus was a genius. Really. If we read through the scriptures, we see how much of a genius Jesus was. He was so creative in the way he told stories. He was so creative in the way that they fished. He was so creative in the way he healed people. He spit on dirt and rubbed it on a guy's eyes. If someone did that to me, that's disgusting. Jesus, we have to tap into his creative. Because the beauty is that, for us, we have access to the creator of the universe. Yet we think we're not creative. We have access to the being who created the heavens and the earth, and he created us in his image. Yet we look at ourselves and we say, I'm not creative. I cannot do it. I'm just going to become complacent rather than stepping into a place of creativity. You have to remember, these guys on the boat were trained fishermen. They knew how to catch fish. That was their job before they found Jesus. They knew how to catch fish. Yet they never thought to move the net to the other side. When we look at it now, we're like, boys, just put it on the other side. But y'all ever had a problem and you don't know how to solve it? And then somebody comes up and gives you the most basic answer. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because so what happens is when trials come, when our circumstance gets bad, how do you respond? Because how we respond will determine oftentimes the outcome. Because I'm telling you, we can be in the most horrific space and still be joyful. We can be in the most traumatic moment and still feel like we're not alone. But if you focus on being alone, that's where you're going to go. The church used to be the pinnacle of creativity, right? Look at the works of art created by Christian people back in the day. But y'all know now, maybe I'm just different. But for me, like when I hear the word, sometimes as soon as the word Christian goes on like a piece of art, immediately I hear people say, oh, that means it probably sucks. Y'all ever hear that? Like I hear that. I'm just being honest. Like I hear that. It's like, oh, this was created by like a Christian artist. It's not good. I've heard that. But the church used to be the pinnacle of creativity. The question I have is, when did that change? Like when did it change that if art was labeled Christian, it wasn't good? And maybe you don't believe that. That's totally cool, because I don't think we should believe that, because I believe that we have access to the creator of the universe and we should be the most creative people on the planet. That's my opinion. But when did it change? I believe that out of COVID, we can change that. I believe that even in this room, maybe you're going to watch this later, if people in our city, in Calgary, in Edmonton, in Alberta, in Canada, Christians can step up and again claim the title of the most creative people on the planet. If we step into the creativity that God has created us for, again, Jesus was a genius and we have access to him. We have direct access to him. The story goes on and it gets so funny. Verse 7. Okay, again, this is the book of John, and if we pull it up, you're going to see that disciple whom Jesus loved. The author wrote this about himself. It's just hilarious, but anyway. The disciple whom Jesus loved therefore said to Peter, "It is the Lord!" Right? They just caught a lot of fish. When Simon Peter heard it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment and he was stripped for work, and he threw himself into the sea. Bro. That guy must have been embarrassed a bit, you know? The other disciples came in the boat, dragging the net full of fish, for they were not far off from land, about 100 yards off. When you see the miracle you've been looking for, when you see the victory, when you do something creative, where do you go? Who gets the credit for the creative genius or the thing, like the victory that you've been searching for? Who gets the credit? Do you look at yourself and say, wow, well done, my good and faithful servant? No. Peter, he said, that's Jesus, I'm going. I don't care if I get embarrassed. I don't care if I look like an idiot. I don't care if I'm swimming 100 yards. I'm going to him. And I believe that is what we need to do as well. We need to go to Jesus in every single moment, even if we embarrass ourselves. Because Peter got there faster. Peter got there first. He got to Jesus first. He swam 100 yards to see him. The other boys, they pulled the fish and rowed back to shore. Once we see that miracle, once we see the creative, once something happens, once what we've been praying for becomes our reality, go to Jesus with it. Say, thank you. Thank you for what you've done in my life. Give Jesus credit. The credit of any creative idea, of every victory, and let's praise him and not praise ourselves. And then it goes there, verse 9. When they got out on land, they saw a charcoal fire in place. Jesus built them a fire, bro. with fish laid out on it and bread. And Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish that you have just caught." So Simon Peter, probably still wet, went aboard and hauled the net to shore full of large fish, 153 fish. I've caught 2 fish in my whole life. And although there were many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come and have breakfast." Now none of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. And verse 13, Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. Now I'm telling you, this breakfast would have been delicious. Like, Jesus is cooking you fish. And when we have a victory, when we see the miracle, one thing that we need to learn how to do is celebrate. Jesus said, "Bro, y'all just caught 153 fish. Let's celebrate together. I made a fire. We're cooking some fish. I got some bread. We're going to eat a feast together." We need to learn how to celebrate more and more in our life. They celebrated that miracle in style. They got together over a fire and cooked a meal together. They had the greatest breakfast. If Jesus says, "Hey, let's have breakfast," I'm about to go. And they cook this fish. They cook this miracle. And when we stop celebrating the good things in our life, we tend to become complacent again. We have to learn how to be celebrators of what God is doing in our life. We have to become celebrators of the creativity of other people. Just because somebody has a work of art that maybe you could never do, don't say, "I wish I had that." Say, "I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you." When your friend who has kids and you're like, "Man, you're an incredible parent. You're one of the best moms I've ever seen, or the best dads I've ever seen. I'm just so proud of you. The house you're building is amazing. And your kids are amazing." Like, tell people. Like, why are we so afraid to compliment other people? I think for some of us, it's because we're ashamed of who we are. We feel like somebody else has to fail in order for us to succeed. Right? Like if we don't get the promotion, that means if we get the promotion, somebody else doesn't. So we win and they lose. Rather than celebrating every victory, even if we don't get it ourselves. Like, celebrate other people. We have to. Just because somebody gets something that you wish you had does not mean they're better than you. Does not mean that they did something different than you. All that it means is that they are getting a blessing, and celebrate that. If we can learn how to celebrate, I believe our relationships will change. If you see somebody doing something better than you could, compliment them. Celebrate them. Celebrate what God is doing in their life. What if on social media we were celebrating what God was doing, not complaining about what the government was doing? So many of us, we've got so caught up in complaining that we've forgotten how to celebrate. You know, I go on social media right now, and I'm sure you guys have too. To be honest, pretty much all I see is complaining. And then there's like one random picture of it, like a new baby, you know what I'm saying? It's like the government sucks, and it's like this cutest baby you've ever seen. You're like, oh. And then more stuff. Like, what if, rather than from the words of our mouth, did you hear what Justin Trudeau was doing? What if we that came out of our mouth, did you hear what God was doing? What if out of our mouth, rather than saying, did you hear what they did? Did you hear what God did? Do you know what he did in my life? Do you know the miracle? Do you know where I was and what he brought me from and where he's taking me? Do you know what God did in my life? What if that's the words that came out of our mouth? There's so much gossip and complaining and complacency, and we just sit here and we're getting just rocked back and forth, rather than saying, no, I'm done. I'm going to celebrate everybody. I'm not going to complain. When did we become complainers? We need to be celebrators. Complainers never get anything done. Celebrators do. You want to get a promotion? Celebrate your coworkers. Celebrate your boss. Celebrate your friends. Celebrate Cooper and Chastity and Pastor Dave and Pastor Clarice and the staff here, and like celebrate people. Did you hear what God was doing? You see this, God is enough. He will always be enough for you. To be honest, I don't care the circumstance. Yeah, I care, but like there's something more than the circumstance. I'm gonna be honest. God is bigger. God is bigger than what you're walking through. God is so much bigger. Let's become people, because God is enough. He is creative, and that makes us naturally creative. Because we were created in His image. Let us give Him credit for every victory. We can't give up. Maybe some of us, we've given up so many times. I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. Don't give up. You can do it. Your life is value. You are important. You have power. You are so valuable. You are so valuable. Don't give up. Let us celebrate together. We have to, I believe, we have to pursue something more. We have to pursue Jesus. And one thing that I like to do, if you know me, is I like to have a takeaway. And, our takeaway today is this. It says, let us move from complacency to creativity, and from complaining to celebrating. Let us move from complacency to creativity, and from complaining to celebrating. I'm telling you, if you do these two things in your life, you're going to start to see your drive come back. You're going to start to see the creative genius within you erupt. You're going to start to see things that you never thought you could accomplish be accomplished. Why? Because you're celebrating people and you're being creative. I'm going to tell you, the first thing you create might suck. But you're never going to get better unless you fail. Let us step back into a moment of creativity. Let us step back into a moment where we stop being complacent, we start being creative, and we stop complaining, and we start celebrating. That's what I believe God has for us as the church moving forward. I don't want to go back to normal, because I think God has something so much bigger than us than normal. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for us as we step into the season together. And I know there's confusion. I know there's so much going on, but I want to encourage you: do not get complacent. Do not give up. Allow God to create through you, create a beautiful home. I believe that being good parents, or doing well in school, or treating people with value is some of the most creative things that we can do. So I'm just gonna pray. First, God, I thank you for Aniko. First of all. God, I thank you that over a year ago we started this place, and God, you're moving. God, we thank you for Cooper, and we thank you for Chastity. God, I pray that they have a restful time away. I pray that they find rest and restoration. I pray that you bless them. And God, I thank you for what they do for us as an Aniko family. And God, I also just pray for all of us right now who are hearing my voice, whether they're watching online or they're here. God, I pray that you help all of us stop being so complacent and help us start being creative again. God, I pray that we will stop being complainers, but that we will turn into celebrators. I thank you that when you invite us to celebrate, when you invite us for breakfast, we don't decline. We step into a moment where we celebrate the victories with you. God, I thank you for this moment, this opportunity that we have to come together, celebrate you and worship you. And I thank you that you're doing something beautiful in our midst. In Jesus' name.
Aniko family, I hope you were blessed by today's message, that it impacted you in a beautiful way. And I just want to let you guys know that if you want to get involved further with our Aniko family and take the next steps to being part of the family here at Aniko, I would encourage you to come check out one of our services in-house right here at Royal Oak Victory Church every Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. Also, follow us on all the social media platforms at Aniko Church, and we would love to stay connected with you and welcome you to part of the Aniko family. We hope you have a blessed week, and we can't wait to see you guys all soon.